welcome to the second episode. I am in the same sweater because I literally just stopped and then started it again. Because I want to know what's happening. Okay, let's see. So, we're back on episode 2 and we just got kicked out of town. So let's see what happened. The climb back out of the valley was quiet. The wind was the only noise to reach your ears. No words coming to pass between you and Joseph. Only the occasional meeting of the eye when he looked to make sure you hadn't fallen behind. Those eyes, that face you had grown accustomed to so quickly, the face you had grown accustomed so quickly to having at least the hint of a smile resting, was devoid of much emotion at all. He wasn't thinking about it. You felt, but to not think about it meant to not think at all. So he didn't. His limbs carried him up the path, but no one was home. You understood, of course. As much as you liked to not think about it either, you couldn't ignore the small dread in your chest. Like it was just the cavities of your insides seeping around in between your organs, a creeping tar. Not a suffocating tar, just making you feel heavy, dense. If you stopped walking now, you didn't know if you'd start again. The sun was starting to dip into the horizon when you reached your original meeting spot at the top of the cliff. Both your horses were lying at the long shadows of some rocky mounds, your own shadow stretching across the sand as you go to tend to them. You both hauled your bedrolls off and started to unpack them, giving the horses some water and sorting through your belongings. Still, without a word, a camp for the night quickly formed between you as you worked. Joseph had brought a thin metal stand with him to stand the cooking pot over and gently tossed you his book of matches as he erected it. You struck the match in a familiar fashion, placing it in the middle of a dried assortment, blowing gently to encourage the shy flame. Lifting your head back up from the budding fire, Joseph was having little issue getting his stand to, well, stand. His face was still the same, neutral, empty face from before, and you noticed a little catch on a joint that hadn't flipped properly. You brought your hand up to flick it out the way. Either the lurch of the stand falling into place or the momentary touch of your hand against his seemed to jolt Joseph out of his listless state. Thank you. A smile, just a small one, weary and wary one, had returned to his face. You were glad to see it again. It was enough to make your chest a little lighter, the tar receding just a touch. With the fire lit, a modest plume of smoke started billowing into the sky and scattering into the fading sunlight. Joseph got up momentarily to rummage into one of his saddlebags, coming back with a tin and some bundled cloth. I've got some, beans, some salted pork, too. Not sure what you got with you. Oh, right, yeah. Hold on. You had plenty of water still, and if you was propping up the bulk of the meal, you had some molasses to add to. You brought them both over and let Joseph sitting on his bedroll. He'd laid out now, taking the reins. It wasn't really a two-person job. With the beans gently cooking away in the pot, he sat there, lazily stirring it with a spoon. You grabbed your bedroll and laid it out on the opposite side of the fire, squatting and dropping onto it with a thud, tucking your legs towards you, resting your head on your knees, holding them in your arms. Okay. They're so cute. We're making food. We're making food together. The two of you sat like this a short while, watching the pot steaming away, the orange flame licking the underside of the well-used metal. You found yourself thinking about what happened in Clemency without even realizing. The pang you felt in your stomach when Sheriff knew why you were there. The sharp chill that shot from your neck to your tail when the gun was pulled on you. You weren't scared of being shot. That wasn't it. That wasn't what set your palm into cold sweat. It was something else. Something about having to leave that town. Sorry for letting you do so much of the talking today. I'm more the quiet type. Sure you figured that out already. He flashed you a weak but genuine smile. Not like it did him much good. It wasn't your fault, Joseph. Sheriff was paranoid and we were bound to be rumbled eventually. Besides, it doesn't really seem like there isn't gold here, unless we feel like setting up a new mining operation. Yep, I'm sure Black Vulture will love to hear that. Wasn't my fault, I'll say. He sighed, a sharp, exasperated exhale through his nose holes, one knee of his crossed legs fidgeting and bouncing as he stirred the pot. You were a little taken back that he seemed to be mocking what you said. Maybe it just wasn't what he wanted to hear right now. Still, you understood his frustration. What would your bosses think if we told them that what this place was like? Would they even believe us? Sorry. You were snapped from your thoughts by his apology, a slight guilty look on his face, knowing he must have seen that he hurt your feelings a little. You're right. It's not my fault exactly. But hell, this is a mess, Nick. His fidgeting was spreading, playing across the feathered fingers of his wings, his face, his eyes, his knees again. Like a ragtime tune was playing all across the inside of his body. What's he like? Black Vulture. He's, His breathing was ragged, too. You got onto your knees and reached your hand onto his that was stirring the spoon even now, a gentle but firm grasp, stopping its motions. Your eyes met over the cooking pot. He looked like he was seeing you again for the first time in a long time. The shaking in his hand came to rest and relaxed its vice grip on the spoon as you held each other's gaze. Let go. I'm here. It's all right. He nodded a few times, taking his hand away and resting on his haunches, stretching his legs out. Few moments passed as Joseph regained his calm, laid-back demeanor. One leg still bounced a little, quick rhythm, tapping a dance hall tune. Aww! Ah, horse! The sun was almost gone now, the last dregs of his light in the desert turning everything in the distance a single dusty red. You could see the stars now as you looked to the sky, the light continuing to fade. More and more points of light dotting their way to the east. You turned your eyes away from the sky when you heard the sound of a pin knife flickering open. Oh, don't mind me none, just doing a little preening. He started taking the knife gently to his wing, very gently. He seemed to be scraping away older feathers, while also opening new pin feathers scattered across the wing in motions almost like shaving. Forgive me if I'm talking out of line, but why don't you use your beak for that? Oh, well, Mama always told us you don't use your beak for things around anyone other than family or lovers. It ain't polite. He seemed a little sheepish admitting it, like it was an uncommon quirk of his family. You ask about Black Vulture, yeah? Don't you know the stories already? Yeah, but those are just stories. I know what it's like riding with someone with a few tall tales trailing behind him. Joseph snorted a little, still making his way across to the wing with a small knife. Yup, that sounds about right. Pretty sure some of the flattering ones I've heard were left behind by the vultures themselves. You settled on the side of your legs a little, getting more comfortable as you kept stirring the ever-cooking pot. Way to begin with the man himself. Jeez. He's a real piece of work, that one. I can tell you that much for sure. He's a city slicker that considers himself a cowboy, even though he hates getting his boots dirty. Acts all gentleman-like and such, real flannel mouth. He'd charm the pants off you if you had something he wanted. Then, when he's got what he wants, he'd jab the knife towards you pointedly. He'd stick you in the back and twist it hard to hear you cry. He turned the knife back to preening. He's a terrible shot, too. There are some stories that he can shoot the cap off a bottle without spilling it from 50 places. But he ain't the sharpest shooter, never. He's almost as bad a shot as me. Got someone else for that. See, that's how you run in his posse. You make yourself indispensable. He tapered his knife on the ground through the word to make his point. His gang is on the smaller side, but they're plenty loyal. They need to be. There can't be anyone else. You're loyal then? I'm the eyes. I'm useful. I get on good with a lot of them, and Black Vulture keeps me round. Win-win. You understood what he was saying, what he meant, what he really wanted to say. You understood how it felt to be under that kind of looming shadow. No one for miles around, but don't say anything, just in case. You'd see what happens to other people. You both had, for sure. Joseph was far from a greenhorn as could be. He swapped hands and stretched the knife on his other wing now. So what about Curly Wolf? You said there were plenty of tall tales about him. Split fair with me. You didn't look at him when he asked you. You kept looking at the pot, peeking over to check the beans. This looks about done to me. Joseph stared at you for a moment when you didn't meet his eyes, and then closed up his knife, kneeling over to look with an approving whistle. Yeah, looks it to me. He laughed a little as his stomach gave a hearty growl, fetching the bowls and holding them while Joseph served you both a big slopping portion. Night had come now, and you both gathered a little closer round the fire and moved the pot stand to the side. You could see him easier now with it out the way. With the pot lifted, the fire rose, dancing in the wind, sometimes hazing your view, the blur flitting in and out as you glanced eyes while you ate. Believe it or not, but I ain't the cookie back at camp. Someone else got that privilege. He was clearly joking, but the beans were some of the better he had. I never would have guessed. I don't cook that often, but I make some mean donuts from time to time. Oh, you do now? I'll have to try them then. I hope so. Ah! You're doing good. You're doing good. You got this. It was so selfish to ignore his questions. Say nothing about Curly Wolf? So rude of you. You weren't raised like this. You couldn't, though. Never. Or more like you didn't know what to say. How many years had it been now? Sorry. I should have said something when you asked about my boss. I get it. No, I mean, of course you do. But it's also that when I said I was the quiet type, it's more than that. If I'm shooting straight with you, I don't remember the last time I heard my own voice before today. At the camp, I might say yeah or no, but I don't really talk. And when I'm away on a lookout, there's no one to talk to. I don't want to talk to myself and just be reminded that I'm alone. I've never talked about him. I wouldn't. Joseph looked straight at you. Even into you almost felt like it. You could see the fire between you in his eyes, flames fluttering across the irises. The intensity of his look gave way to something like relief. Nah, don't worry about being a quiet one. I think it's part of your charm. There's lots of wannabe tough guys who want to act like you with no sweat. That strong, silent type. Besides, guys back home are always telling me to shut up. Not that I give them the satisfaction. I can tell that being quiet doesn't change things. I can tell you that being quiet doesn't change things. Same horse shit regardless of whether you make a fuss. You sighed, a long sigh. What words could you even use for a man like him? Curly Wolf is a bad egg. I think sometimes he was born like that. I know he can't have been, but I don't know what godforsaken things happened to him to turn him into what he is. He's probably the meanest, roughest bastard you'll ever have the misfortune of meeting. Anyone you can think of that you wouldn't want to run into, he's worse than that. I don't know about Black Vulture, but the stories Curly Wolf leaves behind, I don't think they even match up to how dangerous he is. I've seen him gun down traitors riding away on horseback 200 paces away. It's easy to get his dander up, and he's the last person you'd ever want to do that to. He'd make sure of that. Not the rightest you'd ever meet, but his instincts are keen. He's never made an empty threat, and he'll happily get his hands dirty to make good on them. Damn. Shit. Black Vulture said before he'd be willing to pick a fight with Curly Wolf, but they've never met. I wonder if he has any idea what that would get him into. He ain't stupid, but he's definitely too cocky for his own good. Oh, eat your bowl before it gets cold. Nothing worse than cold food. You did as he said, mulling over what you talked about while you ate. Joseph had had a head start on you, but even so, his eating was ferocious, and he finished before you were even halfway through yours. He sat back from his hunch over the bowl, wiping his beak on his arm. He looked around some, into the fire, out into the darkness of the desert, and at you. You could tell he didn't want to stare, but his eyes took you in anyway with long glances. He coughed, clearing his throat to stall for the words he was thinking of. Say, Nick, I wanted to ask. He grabbed his knife again, taking it to his wing once more and looking away as he asked the common question. Your arm. I hope you don't think me cruel for asking, but what happened? Did he do that to you? You were pretty used to questions about it, but you appreciated the genuine warmth behind his words at least. This whole thing? Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was a practical joke of sorts, if you'd call it that, by some of the guys during a camp. What? Nick, you lost your arm as a fucking joke, mate? Took my bandana and shoved it in the mouth of one of them horses. Egged me on, like, to get it back. Reached my hand in, and of course, the hoss gets all antsy and bites down. Starts thrashing, trying to get away. I don't remember much after that. Blacked out from the pain. He's gonna fucking kill somebody! He is gonna murder this gang. He's done. Next thing I know, I'm being hauled to some doctor. Told me they had to amputate before it petrified. Joseph stopped preening at this point, looking at you with some real watery eyes and a soft expression on his brow, both anger and horror. Got the bandana back, so, win some, lose some. I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry for. A long time ago. You just live with it. Full and finished, you set aside your bowl, taking another appraisal of your surroundings, looking up to the sky and its carpet of stars. It was quickly starting to get cold, so you got up and went to your horses, fishing some blankets out for them. Looking inside the bag, you couldn't find your usual extra blanket for yourself. Shit. Must have forgot to take it before you left. I think they're gonna share a blanket! I was wrong about the bed, but I think I might be right about the blanket. You spied your binoculars in there. You took them and walked to the edge of the cliff again. You were about to put them into your eyes when you realized you didn't need them to see what was happening in Clemency. The whole town was dark, except for the bright lights prominently shining from the saloon. You saw the shallow silhouettes of people dancing play out across the street in front, and if you listened very closely, music. Seems like they're having a rip-roaring time. Yeah, I wondered if they would do it tonight, like Bartholomew mentioned. Why wouldn't they? What do they got to be worried about? His voice was a little cold, blunt, ice cubes in a drink bumping your teeth as you sip. Out of all the towns I've been kicked out and run out of, this is the only one I'd want to come back to. This place ain't for us. We're trouble, Nick. We're no good for these folks. Tomorrow we'll be gone. We'll tell our bosses we didn't find anything, and if we're lucky, they'll just go on their way. Maybe in another life we could have gone back there. It would have been nice. But this is our life, our only one. It is what it is, and we move on. That's how we live. You could feel the wind blowing behind you, ruffling your trousers, whistling past your ears as it seemed to push you towards the edge of the cliff. Yeah, I guess it is. The wind kept howling, picking up and dying down, whistling off of the valley and kicking up clouds of dust around the buildings down below. Curly Wolf is going to ransack this place, even if they don't have anything. And what do you want me to do about it, huh, Nick? It's not my problem. You feel now the desert night on you, your fingers, the tips of your ears, starting to feel the tenderness of the cold in the wind. You were shivering. You shouldn't have talked back to him. You knew how that always went. It never ended well. You just made him feel worse, like it was his fault. Why should he have to listen to your stupid concerns? It was your shit to figure out. He owes you nothing. You just met. You don't know each other. If it weren't for convenience, you would have shot each other hours ago. You heard the sound of shuffling behind you as he got up. He started walking towards you. Here it came, as you knew it would. You tense up as he approaches, closing the distance, expecting the due anger. Closing your eyes when you feel him at your back, ready for the blow that's coming. You flinch when you feel a weight around your shoulders, a squeeze of them that you expect to hurt, but it's so tender it couldn't possibly. Opening your eyes, you see a thick blanket draped around you down to your knees. You look cold. Don't want to get consumption just standing there, you know. You know how cold the desert gets. You drop the binoculars gingerly by the strap to the floor, now clasping the edge of the blanket with your hands tighter around you. You could feel how cold your fingers were just below your chin, almost numb. How long had you been standing here for? I'm dreadful sorry. Got nothing to be sorry for. You and he sat back down by the fire, Joseph giving it 1,000-yard stare. Thank you. Nothing to it. Getting warm. You pull the blanket tighter again, the desert chills still sweeping underneath. Are you not cold? I've been around the fire all night, haven't I? I'm fine. He's lying. You can see his feathers twitch and shiver, but he's trying hard to hide it. You wonder the truth of what he said, too. That we just had to move on. Standing up with the blanket, you walk around the fire, standing over him a moment as he looks up toward you with wide eyes. You sweep the blanket around him and sit down, shoulder to shoulder. You were right. He's definitely cold, but a lot warmer than you'd imagined. They're cuddly. Oh my gosh. They're so cute together. I told you I'm fine. Don't give me that blow, tough guy. I know you're not. He looks like he's gonna say something, but just shuts his beak. He suddenly seems a lot warmer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I know. I wasn't the fella I've been around all day. I'm just scared. He nods softly, as to be almost unnoticeable. Yeah, more scared than I've ever been. Together you huddle, bringing the blanket tighter and tighter and moving closer to each other. He smells like the desert, dusty and sweaty. Why is this so warm? Why do you feel like this? Not warm like you're around a fire, but like there's a fire inside of you. Warm coals shifting around inside, and embers spitting in your throat. Have you ever felt like this before? Joseph, He looks at you. Your face is so close together. You lean your head into his shoulder, staring into the wild dance of the fire. I haven't met someone like me before. Or someone like you. You're extremely kind, even to a stranger like me. I wish I could know you more than these few hours. I know I have to ride back in the morning, but all the hopes I've hoped, the strongest is that I could just stay here. That the sun would never rise. I don't want to go back. I'm gonna cry. You stay clinging to him. After a few moments, he pulls you tighter. I have to say, I feel the same way. I can see in you someone who's faced so many hardships. Someone who deserves better, who's worked harder than any of the lump suckers where you've come from. We're a couple of queer fish in a barrel, I'd say. Lord knows how we found each other. My gay heart is like dying. I'm so sad. I'm not sad, it's just so sweet to have like such a nice story. And like they both come from a lot, and like, the abuse, and now they have to leave each other. I'm already attached. I shouldn't be crying already. It's okay. The sun will come up again, and we'll have to go our separate ways. We don't have another choice. I just wish it wasn't so. I wish. You lift your head to look at him, but he just gives you a look and turns back to the fire. What are you thinking? He sighs wearily, like he's been asked to carry the world on his back. It's a flight of fancy, that's all. It's not realistic. You look at him curiously, catching his eyes. He looks at you, almost for approval, before he thinks about what he wants to say. I wish we could run away. That's it. The two of us. Far away from everyone and everything. Right east till we know no one's chasing us. That sounds nice. You both cuddle for a bit while longer, sitting close and resting your heads together. The thoughts of running away tick over in your mind. Is that what you want? As if he could read your mind, Joseph asked. What do you want to do? You thought more. No one had ever really asked you that, and even so, you knew what you wanted to say. I'm tired of running, Joseph. I want to fight. I want to kill Curly Wolf. Really? It's the only way I can think to be free of him. You know as well as I do, you don't get to just up and leave. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to be free of Black Vulture too. But do you think that's something you could do? Kill him? I can't do it alone. Our gangs, Joseph, they're gonna destroy this town. And if we ran away, we'd never be safe. We'd be looking over our shoulders the rest of our lives. I don't want to run away from things anymore. I want to run towards a better life with you. Joseph's eyes were sympathetic, but his expression was of discomfort. I think you're right. But I do want to help you. But I'm useless in a fight. I can't shoot straight. I don't want to die, Nick. I wouldn't let that happen. I'll keep you safe. We can keep each other safe. We haven't been living our lives, Joseph, just surviving. Something better than that is worth dying for, I think. A fight feels inevitable. We should face it. You really that desperate to get out? You nod, head held against his shoulder. He sighs that same sigh again, long and heavy, almost theatrical if it weren't for the stakes laid out before you both. I think you're right. A chance like this won't come again. Might even be tempted to call it fate. We should talk to Sheriff again, I think, somehow, if we can. He yawns. I don't know what we're gonna do. But we ain't gonna figure it out when we're bone tired. We should get some sleep. Come morning, we'll talk more. Figure something out, and then hope on a kiss and a prayer we can make it out alive. He chuckles. Ain't that the story of our lives? This'll be the last time we have to fight like that. I swear it. You both fall asleep against each other, dreaming of that promise, praying for a better tomorrow and willing to fight for it. I'm so sad. It hurts my heart so bad. It's so sweet and sad. Are we going back to the town? It wasn't the red morning sun now rising just above the horizon that had woken you. Nor was it the gentle slumbering breath of Joseph against your neck, doing its best to lull you back to sleep. This is not going to be well. What woke you wasn't even the familiar crick at the base of your tail from sleeping on the bedroll, a stiffness you couldn't wait to stretch out. It was your thoughts. All the thoughts in your mind, like so many horses running of what may come next. What you both had to do. The nights spent on a lookout were better than the sleepless nights back at camp, but you still dreaded the dawn that came after. At least you had Joseph this time. At least you had him for what was to come, you hoped. You could feel one big wing of his wrapped around your stomach, shifting as he started to wake up too now. As much as you wanted to keep lying here with him for just a few more minutes, you knew you had to get up. Coffee wouldn't brew itself. You peeled back the blanket a little as you could to let yourself escape, gingerly untucking Joseph's finger from your side. Sliding off the bedroll and through the dirt, you let Joseph's arm down gently. Crouching low on your knees, you gave his hand a gentle squeeze, feeling the soft, dry, dusty feathers beneath your fingertips. Holding this moment in your head that it might stay here. You stood up, dusting yourself off everywhere you could. Time to get ready. Even with Joseph here, your morning routine was mostly the same, just doubled, you suppose. Feed and water the horses, both of them. Make a pot of coffee, double the amount though. Let it brew for a little longer too on the same fire you used last night together. You kept thinking while the coffee boiled. There were many things you didn't have time to think about yet. Even so, unimportant thoughts still rose. An unimportant thought that kept bubbling up was how nice it was to not have the usual knot in your stomach. The tightness that twisted every time at camp when you had to get food or a drink to use the same tools at the same places as the others. It was nice to not have to worry right now, you thought, about sharing this. Joseph wouldn't complain about having to get coffee from the same pot as you. He wouldn't get angry that you were handling his stuff. Could it always be this easy? Your stomach rumbling snapped you from your thoughts. Of course, you'd forgotten breakfast. You went back to your bag and unwrapped some salted pork, holding it between your teeth and tearing a chunk off. You always liked how chewy it was when you weren't in a rush. The rhythm of your jaw grinding it up helped you think. Possibilities were rolling around in your mind, dice casting along the branches of a tree, how things might play out. Although you couldn't just keep it to yourself now. For better or worse, this was about the two of you. There was both weight and comfort in that thought. As you watched the pot start to bubble and steam, you heard the sound of sleepy shuffling, turning to see a waking Joseph. He was propped up on one elbow, blearily trying to figure out what was in front of him, rubbing his eyes with one winged hand. You saw his pupils contract to the morning sun that was getting brighter and brighter, focusing on you. Morning, partner. Is that the sweet smell of coffee I smell brewing? Not sure I'd call it sweet. You looked into the pot, the dark brown, tar-like substance, regretting the large snoutful you got of its acrid, bitter scent. Well, the idea is sweet to me, at least. Stuff's damn near magic, far as I'm concerned. With surprising energy for someone who had just woken up, Joseph whipped the blanket off of him, standing up and dusting himself off. You watched still as he stretched. His fingers locked together, wings pushed and pulled in front and behind. The way the feathers of his neck parted and ruffled as he rolled his head around his shoulders. The hem of his shirt, usually tucked in but now loose after a night's sleep, rising ever so slightly as he twisted his body. He sighed as he finished, wings on his hips, and met eyes with you. What are you looking at? Nothing. Uh-huh. A shy smirk crept across his face as he tucked his shirt back in and walked over to you. What you eating? Salt pork. There's something in my bag if you want. I think I will. Thank you kindly. Can you get some cups too? This coffee looks about done. You look behind you at Joseph, crouched as he dug into your bag, giving you a quick thumbs up. You turned to the pot again and stirred it with the spoon a little. Joseph came back round and sat beside you, setting 2 tin cups on the ground with one hand. His beak tore at the pieces of jerky in his other hand, hungrily swallowing it down after a few chews. He picked up the pot and poured you both a hot cup, eagerly tapping his cup with yours before drinking. Cheers! You both sipped quietly. You could feel the heat of the coffee traveling all the way down your gullet, burning in your belly. How'd you sleep? Good, like a pup. Didn't wake once. Me too. Slept better than even that hotel I stayed in one time. I swear the sheets on that bed were the softest darn thing I'd ever touched. Sounds nice. It was. Last night was nicer, mind you. Another silence between you now. Likely you're both thinking the same thing. Thinking about last night, what you talked about. Silence, because if neither of you spoke, maybe nothing would happen. Maybe the world would stop turning and the sun would stop rising. Of course, it still does. You can see it charting its way from one horizon to the next. So, what's our plan? Joseph shuffled a little, legs restless. We kill Curly Wolf and Black Vulture. That's what we said, right? You nodded. Maybe we don't have to. We could just run away. We talked about that, Joseph. If we run, we'll spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders. We'll never really be safe. Yeah, you're right. Besides, have you never thought about it? Of course I have. It's not that simple, though. Everyone is loyal. It'd be hard to even get the chance. Even if I killed him, he wouldn't get away with my life. And even when I have thought about it, thought about the ideal world where he's got a bullet in his brain and I'm home free. There's nothing after Nick. Could never see what would happen in the rest of my life. It was blank. Just a desert. If you were to kill him now, what do you see? Joseph looked ahead, thinking. The feathers on his face fluttered in the wind. Something, I suppose. Not nothing, at least. I think maybe I can trust that. Are we really going to be able to kill him, though? I don't know. They bleed and die like anyone else. It's just hard to get a chance. At some point, our gangs are going to go to clemency and take us with them, whether we like it or not. I think we should try to use that to our advantage. Unfamiliar place for them, at least. What about everyone in town? They shouldn't have to be involved with this. They're already involved. We can't change that. I just wonder if any of them would help us. I doubt it. Do you think? He looked at Joseph and he turned to look at you too, his brow furrowed. Sheriff, he felt a cold dread wash over you, even in the heat of the morning sun. No, I don't think the sheriff wants anything to do with us. We'd be dead before we even crossed the town line, remember? I know. It's just, there was something about it. How sheriff was when we were told to leave. I don't know if I fully believed it. Sorry, Joseph. I think that's just wishful thinking. Hey, you listen to me now. I ain't making it up. His voice was suddenly sterner. The timidness that had been in his voice now gone. I'm telling you, Sheriff, I don't think Sheriff wanted to tell us to leave. There was something far too sad about it. You saw it too, right? I'm not imagining it. You thought back. It had hurt too much to dwell on it. Now that you thought about it, you had to agree. It wasn't like other times when you've been exiled or barred from places. There was anger, but there was also frustration. Disappointment. That wasn't normal. You might be right. Even so, I don't think we can go waltzing back into clemency and expect Sheriff to welcome us with open arms. We still don't even have a plan. I think we need to talk to Sheriff. Even if we don't have a plan, Sheriff needs to know what's coming. Yeah, you're right. I just don't know how. We need to get to Sheriff without being seen, ideally. I don't want to risk getting shot, however unlikely. Without being seen. You set your coffee down, getting up and walking to the edge of the cliff. You didn't need binoculars to see the shape of the town from up here, how the land moved and shallowed down toward the buildings. You looked along the cliff in the opposite direction to where you'd gone yesterday. Hey, Joseph. I think if we ride our horses this way, we could maybe get to the town from the back. Sheriff's office at the back of the town there. If we surrender ourselves, we might get to talk to Sheriff. Joseph got it from where he was and walked over to you, looking along the cliff where you were pointing, sipping his coffee. Yeah, that could work. What, not a fan of the idea? Oh no, we can do that. This coffee is just mighty vile. He held the cup over the edge and tipped it upside down, the brown sludge falling into the sand below. Let's get going. We don't have much time before both of us be needing to head back for our gangs. Yeah, of course. We're going back into town. We're going back into town. Oh no. You took one last look along the cliff face, and then started helping Joseph clear up the camp, making haste to get on your horses. You rode as quick as you could down the cliff face, taking a long route round the back of the town. Climbing off your horses, you tied them up outside the site behind a rocky outcropping. You started your cautious walk to the edge of the town together, cautious about being spotted. Sheriff's office right in front of you, squat building backing up onto the side of the desert. 2 square windows were cut into this face of the building, holes in the frame from where bars once were. As you got closer, you listened out for anything that might tell you where Sheriff was. The rhythmic tapping of wood carried on the wind as you from on the wind to you from the front porch. Carefully, you and Joseph saddled up the side of the building. Sticking close to the side, you shuffled along the stone wall, cold in the shade. At the edge, you slowly peeked your head out, squinting through the morning sun. Sheriff was sitting on the porch outside, looking out into the town, cane tapping idly on the wooden boards. You hadn't been noticed yet. You pulled your head back and nodded to Joseph, him nodding back in turn. What? This is not the plan! This is not the plan! This is not the plan! You both threw your guns! This is not the plan! The plan was not guns! The plan was not guns! The plan was talking! The plan was talking! The plan was talking! The plan was not guns! You both drew your guns back to the wall and called out, Sheriff! You hear the panic shuffling of someone getting out of their chair and the cocking of a gun. Who goes there? It's us, Sheriff. Joseph and Nick. We mean you no harm. As you heard Sheriff's footsteps coming toward you around the corner, you both put your hands up, guns hanging limply by the fingertips. You step back from the building and out the shade as Sheriff comes to face you, a gun pointing loosely in your direction. What am I looking at here? Why are you back? You surrendering? Yeah, kinda, Sheriff. We need to talk. For real this time. Oh yeah? And I'm supposed to believe any collywobble you say now, am I? No, we know we betrayed your trust. We lied to you about why we were here, but we didn't lie about the danger to the town. We're asking you for a chance to explain ourselves. Sheriff's brow was furrowed. You could see that even under the tough and scaled skin, a few moments of silence passed between you. Sheriff holstered the gun slowly and calmly, the click of it uncocking letting you breathe freely again. Come into the office then, if we have things to discuss. You gave each other a look of relief as Sheriff turned to walk back. You put your guns away as well and followed the lizard round. The office was darker inside than yesterday, the morning sun not quite shining in the same way. Sheriff stood with both hands on the cane, face curious and stern, still untrusting. So, boys, what do we need to talk about? You look at Joseph and he met your eyes. They were darting about in the small way they do, even when you're focusing on a point. He gave you a little wink. That was all you needed. Yesterday, when we told you about those outlaws headed here, that wasn't a lie. Or I guess it was a white lie. Our gangs know about this place and they're gonna be coming here, gold or not. So you were scouting our town out. Makes sense. Still, I don't see what's stopping you from lying about this town. You both know we can't do much to defend ourselves from a whole gang. So frankly, if I'm picking up what you're putting down and you don't want to hurt us, then just lie to them. Tell them we're armed to the teeth. Scare them off. They won't be stupid enough to still try. I guess we could, but what? Look, I appreciate you trying to come clean and help somehow, but this ain't our business, you see? It's not one gang, it's 2. It's from the Curly Wolf gang, and I'm from Black Vultures. You're from 2 different gangs? Well, I'll be damned. You seem so friendly with each other. The thing is, Sheriff, we don't want to work for them anymore. Curly Wolf and Black Vulture, we want to kill them. We need each other's help to do that. We can't do it alone, you see? Your heart was beating fast in your chest. Saying it out loud, saying it to Sheriff, it changes things. Before you could convince yourself otherwise, you took Joseph's hand in yours, squeezing it tight as you stood next to him. Yeah, Besides, there's no guarantee we'd be able to convince him not to come here, even if we did lie to him. We need your help too, Sheriff. Sheriff's face remained stern, or maybe concerned, you thought, eyebrows flat across the eyes, thinking. You boys are sure about this? This is what you have to do? Yes. Yeah. Joseph's hand moves around, ensuring the grip of his fingers interlocked with yours. Getting a little old for things like this, but alright. I can't in good consciousness endanger the people in this town, but I think I might be able to help. Sheriff got up and started pacing. So your two gangs, they're both gonna come here. Yeah, I know Curly Wolf will for sure. Black Vulture is bored, I can tell. He's itching to do something. Any history between them? Any scuffles? Would they fight and make a truce if they met? Black Vulture has said before he'd fight Curly Wolf, but I don't know if Curly Wolf even know he exists. Curly Wolf wouldn't work with another gang unless he had to. I don't think he'd give up this place so easily. Seems to me like them meeting up would be beneficial to your goals, don't you agree? A fight between them would be chaotic. Maybe that's what we need. Someone might even finish him off for us. It would be dangerous for us, though, too. Well, now hold on. When do the lookouts get caught in the scuffle? Almost never, unless we start it. If anything, we should be the safest ones of the bunch. You're right. If you can delay their arrivals, then I might have a solution for you. Clemency gets supplies, monthly. They arrive by train, about a day and a half's ride from here. That's where the nearest station is. Since it's the whole town's supply and the trip is long, everyone in Clemency goes in a wagon together. Easiest and safest for all of us. As luck would have it, that's in 3 days. So the town will be completely empty? Not a soul. I can guarantee you that. We ride early in the morning and ain't back till the next day. You get your gangs here on that day and do what you need to do. Best I can come up with on short notice. That could work. Not like we have any other plan and anything could happen, but it's better than nothing. Things were happening so fast. Sheriff really wanted to help. This was incredible. Was this really happening? Was this something you could do? 3 days, right? We need to both be here in 3 days. Yup. You think you can do that? Think we can. Joseph looked at you, both of you, holding each other's hand tighter. We have to. Good. And thank you for trusting me with this. You took a real gamble coming back here. No, thank you, Sheriff, really and truly. I hope to see you again when this is over. God willing, you'll make good on that promise. For sure. I think we both ought to get going. I think we both need to get going now. We'll be expected back today. Yeah, we need to start riding soon. Godspeed then, both of you. Keep yourself safe. You felt sick to your stomach and light on your feet. You nodded at Sheriff and left, still holding Joseph's hand. Oh no, babies. Back with your horses, you made last-minute checks of your bags, ensuring everything was secure for the long trip back. 3 days from now, you'd be back. Both of you. Some part of you dreaded needing to start this journey, lingering on the feeling of standing there, not moving. So much has changed since you got here, now you might be risking it all. Doesn't feel fair. The idea of losing something you only just got the chance for. You just shoved it down, though. The ride back was long. You didn't need that kind of worry gnawing at your heart. Pity for you that every time you saw his face, even a glance as you checked your saddle, it all came rising to the top once more. Like a drowning man pushed under the waves, breaching the surface again as he refuses to sink. I think I'm all ready. Me too. Joseph stood by your side now, waiting for you to turn and look at him. You contemplated just getting in the saddle, not lingering for longer than you had to. You felt the light touch of his hand on your shoulder. Twisting, pressing your face now over his shoulder, arms clinging around his side. You were holding him before you could think. Gang bandits! Oh my god! I need that. Joseph said nothing. He did nothing, too, for a moment, till you felt the weight of his arms on your back tightly clinging to you. Your hand took a great fistful of his clothes between your fingers where they lay, and as you held him tighter, he squeezed you even more. You wouldn't care right now if he squeezed you hard enough to break a rib. Feathers on his neck tickled your face and poked your closed eye. You could feel the way his back bent as he leaned ever so slightly over you. You don't know how long the hug lasted, but eventually you let go. I need to go get my dog. You don't know how long the hug lasted, but eventually you let go. I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. You could feel imprints on your skin from where the hardness of his clothes, his buttons, his belt had dug into you. Still, you didn't mind. He held you still, facing each other, holding each other's arms, and looking at each other. Joseph's eyes flickered around your face and to the top of your head, holding his gaze there for a moment before leaning in. Are we getting a forehead kiss? Am I getting a forehead kiss? Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You felt the gentle prod of his beak on your scalp, the sharp edges tugging at your fur. He preened through a few more times, pulling gently and spitting the loose hairs to the side. Done. He pulled back, his face a little sheepish. There. That's better. Need to look your best when you go back. Thought your mama said it was impolite to use your beak. Well, she's not here. Besides, I think you fit the, criteria. Thank you. Your cheeks were hot and flushed with what felt like all the blood in your body. You were sure you could see the same under his feathers. I'll see you in 3 days, you hear? Yeah. We'll kill those bastards. Yeah. You nodded. His hands trailed your arms as he walked away to his horse. You got up in your saddle too, the reins familiar in your hand. Joseph trotted his horse round up alongside you, facing the opposite way. Well, partner, time to go. Wait, Joseph, just promise me if something goes wrong, you'll run. Promise? Killing them isn't worth it if you die too. If you run, I run. It ain't worth the effort denying. You smiled at him with the same type of smile as when you left home. Weak and warm, but relieved all at the same time. Goodbye, Nick. See you soon, Joseph. You both started your horses moving, gently trotting until you no longer were beside each other. You heard Joseph give a kaya, and his horse set off at speed, kicking up dust into the air while you looked behind him. Aww. Why are you back in town? You set your own horse into a gallop, the rush of the wind in your ears as you rode through and out of Clemency. Back to your gang. Back to the man you were plotting to kill. Oh, I'm gonna do warning homophobia. There's probably gonna be homophobia in this, and I'm probably gonna cry, and I apologize. But that stuff, it like hits home, and it hits my heart really hard. So, the midday sun hung harsh and bright in the sky as you made it back to the camp. You and your horse both tired from the ride. The current hideout of Curly Wolf & Co. was a ramshackle affair nestled in the depths of rolling hills, hidden from the sight of any passerby. Riding slowly in, you climbed off your horse onto the sun-baked ground and led it over to tie it up with the others. The smell of the food wafted, but you could see the people cleaning up already. You missed lunch. As you made to leave the horse, a sudden thought struck you, and you doubled back to scramble about in your bag. Where was it? You hadn't left it behind, surely. A trickle of panic that had started to leak into your chest thankfully stopped as your fingers felt the soft brush of what you were looking for. $100 that it's his feather. $100 that it's Joseph's feather. You pulled the feather Joseph gave you out of your bag, holding it closely to yourself. You let out a short gasp of a sigh. Oi, tomboy! Your ears pricked up and you stood up straight at the sound of Curly Wolf shouting at you. You hastily tucked the feather away in your pocket. You turned and made your way over to Curly, eyes down at the ground, avoiding the looks of the others. So this is the fucking asshole. This is the asshole. Okay. I know I just gave okay. I know this isn't as long as the first, but I am going to end this episode here. I have some things to go do. So this episode is going to end here. And I hope y'all enjoyed. And we'll see you in the next episode.